Okay, we're up to chapter 28, verse 45. Vayomer Yisrael. And so Israel said, Rav owed Yosef, Rav, that pause. There is a lot. Owed Yosef Benichai, my son Joseph's still alive. Let me go and see him before I die. So Rashi says, Rav li simcha v'chadva. I have much joy and gladness. Because my son Joseph still lives, I have a lot of joy and gladness. Rashi is telling us that Od is not connected to the word Rav. Okay. Chapter 46. This is another example of where the Jewish division does not correspond to the Christian divisions, because we start the fifth Aliyah one verse before they start a new chapter in the Christian divisions. So it's a slight difference. They view this as the Jewish tradition views that verse that we just had as connected to the next verse, which is all of a sudden Israel is traveling. Vayisa Yisrael b'chol asher, and Israel traveled with everything that belonged to him. Vayavo be'er they came, and he came to Beersheba. Vayizbach zevachim lo'okei aviv Yitzchak, and he brought sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. Rashi says Be'er. This is we really skip these Rashis. They're grammatical, but Rashi tells us it's like he's going to Beersheba, Kamo Beersheba, that the Be'era, the hay at the end, the hay besov teva bimkom lamed. Rashi's told us this already a few times. This is already the fourth time in Genesis, and he makes it also an Exodus and Deuteronomy, that the hay at the end of the word is also equivalent to the lamed before the word. Okay, two means two, and then he says, Reb Sasson, Reb Sasson, we want to say we're happy to see you, but we're disappointed that you weren't able to go where you needed to go this week. But we're happy. We like studying with you, is what I'm trying to say.
Glad you all know what's going on.
I know what's going on. From my daughter, she gives me updates.
Very good.
Okay.
But it was been shared.
Whatever. I'm just saying, mate, we'll turn lemons into lemonade. So the verse states, Rashi's wondering, why does it say the God of my father Yitzchak? What about the God of my father Abraham? So he says, Chayav Adam bechvod aviv. A person is obligated to honor his father yoter mi bechvod zekeno, more than his grandfather. Lefikach Torah beYitzchak v'lo ba'Avram. Therefore, the verse makes it dependent upon Yitzchak and not Abraham, because the pasuk could have said, and he brought a sacrifice to the God of his father Abraham and Isaac. So Rashi is telling us you have to honor your father more than your grandfather. Okay, so in case anybody wonders, if your father asks you to do something and your grandfather asks you to do something, you have to listen to your father before your grandfather. That's the verse. That's the teaching. Vayomer Elokim liYisrael. And God says to Israel, b'marot halayla, we're chapter 46, verse 2. God says to Israel in the vision of the night, Vayomer Yaakov, Yaakov, Vayomer Hineni. He says, Jacob, Jacob. He says, here I am. Rashi says, Lashon Chiba. Why does it say Jacob's name twice? It's an expression of love. My Jacob, my Jacob.
It's interesting that the Torah refers to Yaakov as Israel. God speaks to him as Yaakov.
It's very interesting. Yeah, there's a riddle here, a clue. And usually we could try and understand, like, what's the context. That maybe we could say that Yisrael is when he's dealing with a national stage, and Yaakov is when it's on a personal level. But here it's especially complex because it's in the same verse.
Yeah. And
so God says to Israel as a national name, but then God speaks to him as like a personal individual.
In the beginning of Yom Yisrael, it's Israel says, and speaking about his son, that's personal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Maybe somebody who's watching this on our YouTube channel can call me and give me a good explanation. But I've never figured it out.
Makes sense that they were just talking about his father being Isaac, and his father gave him the name Yaakov. His parents gave him the name Yaakov, and we're just discussing his connection to his father.
Yeah, so Eitan is saying maybe it's discussed in connection to his father, but it just refers to him Israel. The problem is any theory that you could have would have to explain why the verse refers to him as both here. So Vayomer Anochi Akel Elkei Avicha Al Tira Meradam Mitzrayma Kilagoy Gadol Asim Hashem. God said, I am the God of your father. Anochi Akel Elkei Avicha. I am the God of your father. Two different names for God. Do not be afraid. Al Tira, don't be afraid to go down to Egypt, because I'll make you into a great nation. Rashi says, what do you mean don't be afraid? Jacob was upset that he was going to have to leave the land of Israel. The fact he says don't be afraid means he was afraid. He says, Anochi Eredim Cha Mitzrayim. He says, I will go down with you to Egypt. Anochi Alcha, and I will lead you up. He says, I will lead you down to Egypt, and I will lead you up. Whoa. We have some latkes for you, some fresh latkes. So he says, I will take you down to Egypt, and I will lead you up. Anochi Alcha Gamalo, I will lead you up. Yosef Yashit Yado Alemecha. And Joseph will place his hand on your eyes. What is placing the hand on the eyes? Usually that means that you're going to be buried in the land. Rashi says, if Ticho Liyot Nikbar Ba'aretz, because it says, I will lead you up, but we know Jacob never leaves Egypt, he just leaves to be buried. So he's saying, I will lead you up to be buried in the land of Israel.
You know, it's the same words as the Akedah, Vayomer Yaakov, Yaakov Vayomer Hineni, Vayomer Abraham, Abraham Vayomer Hineni.
Yeah.
The same way, and they're going through the same trial and thing.
It is exactly, yeah. I mean, it's very similar that this is a type of, hold on, somebody's asking to come on. This is a type of trial for Jacob that hold on one second, wants to come on. It's a very good point, Reb Sasson, that this is a kind of Akedah for Yaakov.
Because trial, right? That's why when you said it, that's why I thought it was the same thing.
Yeah, because he's going down, he's in distress, and his children are going to be enslaved, and he knows what's going to happen to them. So, but God is telling him that he's doing the right thing. This is interesting that he's being promised that he's going to be buried in the land of Israel. The verse states, Vayakam Yaakov Beersheva, and Jacob gets up from Beersheva, Vayisu b'nei Yisrael at Yaakov Aviyam, and the sons of Israel took their father Jacob. See, there it's again, the sons of Israel and their father Jacob. Et Tapam, they took their little babies, Shehem, and their wives, Ba'agalot, in the wagons, Asher Shalach Paro Asetato, that Pharaoh had sent to carry him. Verse 6, Vayikub et Mignehem, Vet Rechusham Asher Achashu, they took their cattle and their possessions, they took them that they had possessed in the land of Canaan. Vayavo Mitzrayma, Yaakov v'chol zaro ito. And they came to Egypt, Jacob with all his seed with him. Rashi says, Asher achoshu be'eretz Canaan, that they had gathered in the land of Canaan. V'masher achash be'padan Aram, natan hakol Esav. That which they had gathered in Padan Aram, he gave it all to Esav. He was done with that. He gave it to Esav. He traded that to him for a share in the cave of Machpelah. Amar nechnesei chutz haaretz einan kedai li. He says, I don't want anything coming from outside the land of Israel. So, v'zeu asher kariti li, and this is what it means. Something in the oven still? Nothing's in. This is what it means, which I've dug for myself. Yaakov set up piles of gold and silver for Esav. Kamin kri. He said, take these. He set up like a pile. So the word kariti, we would have thought, it says here, asher kariti li. It says it later on in Genesis chapter 50, verse 5. It says, that Yosef goes to Pharaoh and says, my father swore me, saying, I'm about to die in the grave which I have kariti li, Be'eretz Canaan. Now, what he's saying kariti there means it's a pile, that he bought it from Esav for a pile of gold and silver.
But the literal meaning is digging, right?
Yeah, the literal meaning is digging, but Rashi is saying it means a pile. That's from the Tanchuma. Because otherwise, why does Yaakov get a share in the Marat HaMachpelah? So Yaakov bought the share from Esav. Esav ended up there, Rashi says, but only his head got in. You know that story. That's later on in Vayechi, that Esav's head was chopped off and the head fell into the Marat HaMachpelah by Naphtali's son. So they came, okay, verse 7. Banav u'bnei banav ito, b'notav u'bnot banav b'chol zaro evi ito Mitzrayma. His sons and his grandchildren with him, his daughters and the daughters of his sons, and all his seeds he brought with him to Egypt. Who are the daughters of his daughters? The daughters of his sons? This refers to Rashi says, Serach bat Asher v'Yocheved bat Levi. Serach, the daughter of Asher, and Yocheved, the daughter of Levi. Meaning to say that the verses only refer to two girls. So why are these two girls mentioned? So they're significant. Serach because she lived for a very long life, and Yocheved because she was the mother of Moses. So you could go check out the lakas in the kitchen. So, okay, now the next verse tells us, the Eloh Shemot Pnei Israel. These are the names of the children of Israel. Obviously, there had to have been, later. The host asked me, you want to do a video? Somebody asked me to start a video, no. So these are the names of the children of Israel, Abayim Mitzrayma, Yaakov Banav, before Yaakov Ruvain. Yaakov and his sons, the firstborn of Jacob is Reuven. Rashi says, Habayim Mitzrayma. Why does it say they were coming to Egypt? Al Shem HaSha'ah. Karel HaMakatuv Ba'im. Meaning to say because they were coming. And why does it say that these were the descendants who were coming? It could have just said who came. So Rashi says, because it's speaking in the present, because that was what was going on there. They were coming to Egypt. Now we start getting interesting. Ubnei Reuven, Chanoch, Ufalu, v'Chatzron, v'Charmi. The sons of Reuven were Chanoch and Palu, Chatzron and Carmi. The sons of Reuven were Chanoch, Palu, Chatzron and Carmi. Okay. Ubnei Shimon, Yemuel v'Yamin, v'Oad v'Yachin v'Tzochar. These are the five names. Yemuel, Yamin, Oad, Yachin, Tzochar, v'Shaul ben Haknanit. Who is this Shaul ben Haknanit? Rashi is going to tell us who this person is. Shaul, the son of a Canaanite. What does that mean? That Shimon married a Canaanite? No, we have to look at the Rashi. Rashi is going to tell us what this means. Rashi tells us, Ben Dinah. He was actually the son of Dinah. He was not the son of a Canaanite. Here, come on here, Mayor. You sit next to me. So So why was he called the son of a Canaanite? So Rashi tells us Sheniv Kanani, because she had relations. Here, sit next to Jeff Mayer. There's Jeff will give you the place. So why does it call her the son of a Canaanite? Because she had relations with a Canaanite, Kishahargu at Shechem, when they killed Shechem. So wow, this is just a really powerful Rashi. After Dinah had been abducted, she refused to leave until her brother Shimon promised to marry her. And so when it says Shaul, the son of the Canaanite, means Shaul was the one who was born from the union of Shimon and Dinah. What? Shimon was the father, and he married Dinah, his sister, because that was the only way that she would agree to leave, because she was worried nobody was going to marry her again. That is not allowed. That is not allowed. How was he able to do this? So let's see. The commentary here cites two commentaries. Tosfos, we're still waiting for the 11 Mefarshe Rashi. That's a great book which we need. Waiting for the Sfarim sale to get them. Mikrot Gedolot with 11 Rashi commentaries. In the meantime, we'll suffice with the two that are cited here in this beautiful edition by the Art Scroll. So it says, the son of the Canaanite woman. This implies a previously mentioned Canaanite woman, but there's no Canaanite woman mentioned in conjunction with Shimon. So therefore, we're going to say it's Shimon's sister, Dinah, whom he rescued from Shem in the land of Canaan. That's the first explanation. Second explanation is, although they kept the laws of the Torah, exceptions could be made through prophetic revelation before the Torah was given. So Shimon had a prophecy that they should marry each other, even though they were brother and sister. That's from the Gur Aryeh, who's also the Maharal of Prague. So he said that they made an exception.
And according to the Gemara, they married their twin sister. So I don't know why it's such
The
a
other
problem.
brothers married their twins.
Right, so it was allowed before the Torah was given. That's it.
I mean, but nowhere does it say. The question is, why is this one specifically mentioned? It's a very strange Rashi. Not Rashi, it's a very strange midrash. They can't think of anybody else. Why do we have to connect? Why do we have to connect every single Canaanite? Like, why do we have to identify them?
They said that the son of the Canaanite woman, but also thought that it could have been Shechem's child. That'd be more logical.
Well, no, because it says the sons of Shimon. So Shimon's sons.
And that he adopted her, that he adopted the son. That was the deal that Dinah made.
That's a different Rashi. I mean, that's a different midrash. We don't have that midrash. That would have been a good one, Jeff. Oh wait, my video stopped.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Rabbi, by asking you to start the video.
Oh, I didn't realize my video went off. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So then the verse states, verse 11, the sons of Judah, Bnei Yehuda, we're in chapter 46, verse 11. The sons of Judah were Er, Onan, Shelah, Peretz, Zarach, Vayamas Er, Onan, Peretz, Canaan, Bnei Peretz, Chetron, Chamu. The sons of Judah were Er and Onan, Shelah and Peretz and Zarach, and Er and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the children of Peretz were Chetron and Chamu. Verse 13, Bnei Yisachar, Tola, Upuva, Yov, and Shimon. And the children of Yisachar were Tola, Upuva, Yov, and Shimon. And the children of Zevulun were Sered, Ve'elon, Ve'yachael. Ela b'nei Leah, these are the children of Leah. Asher Yaldel Yaakov v'Padan Aram. These are the children of Leah which were born to Jacob in Padan Aram. Ve'Dina bito, Kol Nefesh Banavu Benoto Shloshim v'Shlosh. And Dina's daughter, all the children, all the sons and daughters, numbered 33. Rashi says, Ascharim Torah b'Leah, Anakeva Torah b'Yaakov. Why does Rashi's wondering, why does it say these are the sons of Leah and Dinah, his daughter? which implies that Dinah is only the son of Jacob, the daughter of Jacob. Why doesn't it mention these are the sons and daughter of Leah? Dinah was also the daughter of Leah. So Rashi tells us, Azcharim tell Leah, the verse refers to the males as being the offspring of Leah, and the female he places upon Jacob. Okay, this is a very difficult thing to explain. But it says, Isha mazra'at tchila yoledet zachar, Isha mazra'at tchila yoledet nekeva. Used to believe that in order for man and women to get pregnant, and for women to get pregnant, both the man and the woman had to produce seed. So therefore, they're telling us that Rashi says they're teaching the idea that if the woman produces the seed first, she'll give birth to the male. But if the man produces the seed first, he'll give birth to a female.
It says the same thing in Tazria.
Yeah, it says it in a number of places, and it says it in the Gemara, but it's the idea. So that's why it says Dinah was his daughter, because it means that Jacob contributed the seed first. Don't apply this, Mayor. Don't think that this is the biology of the birds and the bees, because this is not really applicable. We're not allowed to apply the science of the Talmud to modern day. The rabbis already hundreds of years ago knew that the science of the Talmud should not be relied upon for our modern science. So either it was based upon the best information they had available, or our bodies have changed, or it's told in the mysteries and so those complete mystery that's too deep for us to basically understand.
I mean, it is true that the woman has reproductive cells. It's just not the same reproductive cells.
Yeah, this is not accurate. It's not accurate. I mean, there are certain aspects of it which you might think may contribute, but it's not accurate the way it is. I mean, there's always a grain of truth in some things, but this is not scientifically accurate based upon our knowledge today. Anyway, it says Shoshim Shalosh Ubipratan, and when they are listed below, when you list them, you only find 32. Elazo Yocheved, who is number 33? This refers to Yocheved. So Shenolda Ben Hachomot. She was born between the walls. B'knisatan la'ir, upon entry into the city. As it states, Asher Yolda Oto Levi b'Mitzrayim. She was born to Levi in Egypt. Leidata b'Mitzrayim, ve'enarata b'Mitzrayim. Her birth was in Egypt, but she was not conceived in Egypt. So this is the idea, because if you count all the names that were mentioned here, you're only count 32. So where is number 33? Rashi says 33 refers to Yocheved. Yocheved was conceived. She was born between the walls, entering into the city. She was conceived outside of Egypt, but she was born in Egypt. I'll never forget this Rashi. Our dear friend, we're studying in our yeshivas in his house, Rabbi Ben Mintz. He, of blessed memory, he gave a beautiful drasha about this Rashi. He says Yocheved was born between the walls, similar to Rachav. Rachav was also a woman who was living between the walls. He said, who are the people who live between the walls? These are people who are on the outskirts of society, that they're not fit in either place. They're in like the no man's land, that there's not easily identifiable. Those are the people who are able to transform society. Those are the people who are marginalized, but somehow the redemption always comes from them. And if you think about it, Moshe Rabbeinu came from Yocheved. Moshe Rabbeinu was himself a person who was between the walls. Even though he was raised in the house of Pharaoh, he was an outsider. He was an outsider to the Jewish people. He was an outsider to Pharaoh. It's always the people who are the outsiders who sometimes have the greatest clarity, the greatest vision, and are able to transform society. So if you ever feel like you're an outsider, you are the ones who are first of all, it's the outsider. It's don't take that as a rejection. Take it as an opportunity to be the voice, the prophet, the siren song for society. That was the message of our dear friend, Rabbi Ben Mintz of blessed memory. We always like to share things that he taught. So So, okay, the verse tells us, B'nai Asher, B'nai God, the children of God were Tzifon, Chagi, Shuni, Ve'etzbon, Ere, V'arodi, V'arewe. The children of God were Tzifio, Chagai, Shuni, and Etzbon, Eri, Arodi, and Arewe. And the children of Asher were Yimna, V'yishva, V'yishvi, Ubria, V'serach Achotam, and Serach their sister. B'nai Bria, Chaver, and Malkiel. The children of Bria were Chaver and Malkiel. Verse 18. Ela b'nai Zilpah. These are the children of Zilpah. Asher Natan Lavan Leah Bito, that Lavan gave to Leah's daughter. Vateot et El Yaakov Sheishes Nafesh. They gave birth to a total of 16 descendants coming from them. And then the next verse tells us, B'nai Rachel, Eshet Yaakov, Yosef, Benjamin. The children of Rachel were the wife of Jacob, were Joseph and Benjamin. Yosef Eretz Mitzrayim. Oh wait, Rashi tells us verse 19. B'nai Rachel, Eshet Yaakov. The children of Rachel were the wife of Jacob. Uvekulan, Monemar by Eshet. But the other women, it never calls them their wife. Ela Shaita Ikarot Shabayit. She was the mainstay of the house. Therefore, she was called the wife. She was the wife. Okay, so we'll do the verse states, the next verse. Vayivol Yosef Eretz Mitzrayim Asher Yodalo Osnat Ba Potifera Kohen Od and Menashe et Ephraim. So it was born to Joseph in the land of Egypt. It was born to him from Osnat, the daughter of Potifera, the Kohen of On, Menashe and Ephraim. Ubnei Benyamin Bela V'Bechar V'Ashbel Gera B'Naman Echi V'Rosh. The children of Benjamin were Bela, Bechar, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Echi, and Rosh, Mupim, V'Chupim, V'Ard. Ela b'nei Rachel, these are the children of Rachel, Asher Yuad Yaakov, that were born to Jacob, Kol Nefesh, Arba'asar, all their souls are 14. B'nei Dan, Hushim, children of Dan were Hushim. He's got 1. Wow, that's really unusual. Okay, and we'll do this last verse and then we'll stop. Uvenei Naftali. No, we'll do 2 more verses. Uvenei Naftali, Yachtzel, V'Guni, V'Yitzer, V'Shilem. Naftali has 4 sons. Yachtzel, Guni, Yitzer, and Shilem. Ela b'nei Bilhah, Shenatan Lavan l'Rachel. Because these are the 2 offspring of Bilhah were given to Lavan gave to Rachel. Vatelah et El Yaakov, Kol Nefesh Shiva. They gave her to 7. Hold on 1 second. All right, so we'll stop here. God willing, we'll stop here and we'll pray. Do the prayers now. If anybody